Okay, guys, we're going to go there today because it has been so alive in so many clients. And you know, if it's been alive in my clients, I know it's been alive within you too. So we're going there. So, you know, those moments where you tell yourself, like, I'm so over it. It doesn't bother me. But your body's like, girl, no, you're not. We're literally reacting. We are literally having a breakdown right now. Like, your stomach's tight. You are freaking. You feel it. Like you feel it within your body. Your jaw's clenched. You're spiraling in your head. All of the thoughts. The thought storm is just so freaking present. But on the outside, like the outside version of you, you're pretending you're totally chill. You're acting like it's not bothering you because it's what you're saying, but inside, you know it is. Like you feel it, like your face is hot, your stomach's tight, all those things. That's not healing. Saying I'm over it when you're clearly reacting is not healing. That's spiritual bypassing dressed in a really pretty suit with a big, pretty bow on it. That's all you're doing. And that's what we're talking about today. Because you can't meditate your way around a wound that you haven't actually looked at, that you actually haven't evaluated, that you actually don't understand. Ask me how I know. Right? That's the whole point, right? Because that is what I did personally for a really long time. Like I had this identity for myself that I was so strong, that I was so capable, that I could overcome anything. And when you have that identity, yes, it's great. Yeah, it's helpful. Yeah, it doesn't push you back. Yeah, it does those things. But what it also does, it draws you away from exploration. It draws you away from honesty. It draws you away from setting in the discomfort of understanding what you actually need to work on. And so this leads to spiritual bypassing. This leads to what really happens in our brain and in our mind and in our body. And so when we skip over the discomfort by pretending that you're fine, by, over spiritualizing it, by, just ignoring it, like suppressing it, instead of actually addressing the real source, you begin to normalize that reaction. And it's also fine because we all do this, right? This especially happens in very self aware, high functioning people who have done the work, but still feel the pattern, right? So we try to overlook that. And I see it all the time. It's like, well, I'm disassociating with that. I'm trying not to make everything mean something about me. It's like, yeah, Kayla, I know you told me to do that. You were literally the one that told me to stop making everything mean something about me. Okay, well, now I'm going to add more to that. Because, yeah, you can't make everything mean something about you, but you have to understand why you made it mean something about you to begin with. Because you can't just name it and it dissolves. And just because you can name it doesn't mean it's not still a present operating system that you have. Do you understand what that looks like for you? Do you feel that work starting to rise to the surface? Like, is this resonating? Because you're like, oh, yeah, I've done that. But this is like where you have to give yourself like a high level of permission to go there, to be honest, to be willing to understand. So then you can let it go. So then you can dissolve it. So it can be something that you don't have to constantly go back and forth. And this exhausting thing that we're always talking about, like, it's like, oh my God, I just want to stop thinking. Okay, that's great. But if your brain is automatically going to go to, why am I like this? This is suffering, all these different things, and you still have to think a little bit more. You have to allow yourself to process through what it means about you if the emotions are rising to the beliefs. It's really hard to release what we don't understand. And I say really hard, and I'm just going to say you can't release what you don't understand because you're going to keep trying to, it's going to keep replicating it. It's going to keep showing up in different spaces in your life until you really, really, really release it because you understand of why you generated it, why it became present in your life. So your subconscious mind, I use this as an example earlier. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about like when you turn on like your favorite show as background noise, like you've seen it 1,000 times. You're not actually watching it. You just wanted something on in the background for whatever reason. And every now and then you hear some lines from the show. Like it says something and you're like, ha, 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 yeah, I get that. Whatever it is, you hear some words. Now, even when you don't consciously hear the words, those words are still being spoken. It's still running in the background. That's your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is always running in the background, whether you hear it or not, whether you're consciously aware of the story it's telling or not. And that's how the body keeps reacting, because this story still has a grip, because the subconscious mind is still running. And sometimes we catch a glimpse of it. Sometimes we catch a glimpse of the pattern or the belief that's being ran in the subconscious mind. And other times it's still running, whether we hear it or not. That's what I want you to really understand about this, is that this is the power of the subconscious mind. And this is what most people overlook, because the pattern is going to be present. And unless we cut off the connection, unless we cut off this level of like attachment to the beliefs that then are tied into our subconscious mind, the filter will still be there. It will still be a complete circle and a circuit for it to complete. Because you're not over the pattern if it still owns your subconscious mind, your nervous system, the way that you feel, right? You can't talk your way out of it. You can't say, I'm so over this. I'm so emotionally mature. None of this bothers me anymore, while your body itself is still having a physical reaction to it. So where most people miss this shift is that they try to choose differently because they know they don't want that pattern anymore, right? But they do it by not understanding why that they chose that pattern in the first place. So why was it even present in your life in the first place? And if we completely overlook this, I promise you're going to keep exploring it. You're going to have to keep hitting it over and over and over again. And that's exhausting. And I don't want that for you. So let's collapse that time. Like, that's what we do here, right? That's what not this time means, because we can say not this time. It's the whole freaking name of the podcast, where we're like declaring, not this time, I'm not going to do it this time. But we can only do that if we know what story we're breaking up with. We can only do it and separate from it if we know why and how and what we're separating from. It's not just as simple as not this time. I'm not going to react. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to feel this way. I'm not going to think this way. All great things, right? We want to get there. And not this time, right? Whole freaking point. This is a choice point, but we're doing it for real. You don't just choose a new thought. You choose to stop identifying with an old one. Does that make sense? I want that to really land for you. I want you to really identify the thought that you need to stop identifying with. Because if you don't understand what you need to stop identifying with, it's going to be really hard to choose a new thought to identify with. Because guess what? That story, that noise in the background will still be running whether you're listening to it or not. And consciously, you're going to choose a new thought, but subconsciously, you're going to default to the old one. That's why it's important to do this work. That's why it's important to do the self-discovery. That's why it's important to understand the self and the self and the story and the identity that you've created, so we can start to detach from it, so you can actually live your authentic self, not like a created version of it, not who you think you need to be, not who you're told you to be, right? That real authentic version. The one that's true, the one that's real, the one that you don't have to think about, the one that just arises to the surface, the one that when you open your mouth, what you want to say comes out without the ifs and the buts and the shame and the worry. Because by bypassing what you need to see, you're getting further and further and further away from your true, authentic self, the one that wants to be felt and heard and experienced. And it was something that I did so often. Like, I remember when I first started coaching, and I was always trying, it was like a persona, I was trying to be a certain version. I was trying to sound smart. I was trying to be good. I was trying to create transformation. So I was always trying to be something. And that was very much tethered to this story, of course, of not being good enough or smart enough or capable enough. Like, it's like, of course, I say this every single podcast because it was so important in my life. And so every single time I was coaching and I was in conversations, my conscious mind was like trying to be so smart, and my subconscious mind was like, good luck with that, because you're an idiot. So I was going back and forth, this tug of war, because I was creating this identity and this persona in this way that I wasn't, not that I wasn't smart or capable, but I was trying to create it in a box that I thought the other person was going to think that. And you can't do that, because it's not authentic. And then it's really disruptive. So now you're like having this freaking inner dialogue with yourself instead of just being present with the person in front of you. Right. So I was bypassing this aspect of myself that I needed to actually understand the root and the depth, just the depth of this story of what it was for me, and why it kept coming up. And I had this conversation with my expansion experience students, and we were talking about it. And one of the students shared this story about her garden and how, it's such a prevalent space, such a really good identification of what this looks like, and how if we don't weed and if we just till over it, the weeds, guess what grows back? The weeds, because we didn't get them at the root. That's the whole point. That's the entire point of this. So you have to get this at the root, or it's just going to keep coming back over and over and over and over again. And that's the power of this work, right? You have to name the actual root to create the actual shift, or it's just going to keep growing. It's just going to keep growing and growing. So you have to be able to do this for yourself. Again, or you're just going to keep finding yourself stuck in these patterns. And what you think you've healed, you don't. Right. And so for me, I wasn't willing to look at that side. I had told myself I was smart enough, right? I probably had it plastered on 16 different freaking Post-it notes telling me how smart and capable I was. But I didn't believe it. It was still tied and tethered to my belief that I wasn't good enough because I needed it. It was serving me in a way. It was keeping me safe. And that's what we have to talk about too, right? Those thoughts and those beliefs are anchored in a level of safety, a perceived sense of safety. So we have to sever these. Again, we have to lean back into the TRM, the 5 steps. What's the trigger? What do you feel? Why do you feel that way? What's the story that's attached to it, right? This is the root. That's what we have to understand as well. And then the third step is why. What do we gain from this? What are we gaining from this trigger? And how do I change it? And this reaction and these beliefs? And what do I do differently? Right? Those are those beautiful spaces. And then we can move to step 4 and we start to get a new choice point. And then we choose over and over and over by this understanding. That's how it dissolves. Right? We can't skip this part. You can't just, affirm your way through something like I'm calm, I'm at peace, right? You're telling yourself I'm so calm and I'm peaceful while you're freaking slamming the dishwasher door shut. Nobody listens to you, or you're swearing under your breath. Oh my gosh, you're in this like an inner turmoil of no one respects you. Nobody listens to you. You have to carry everything, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's your body calling bullshit that you're not freaking calm. You're not at peace. So if you're trying to say something and your body is like giving you a different clue, that's where you need to focus. That's what you have to do differently. So what do you do instead? One, we can use the TRM, right? So you break down the TRM, you understand the pattern. That is truly, truly the most important thing. And we can add some layers to this because we also need to understand our reaction. Like, what are the clues that your body's telling you? What is your body trying to let you know? What is it trying to give you insight to? Is there a physical reaction? Is it just a mental reaction? What is it? And then we name that pattern. What's the belief that's driving it? Like, what is that belief? What's the trigger? Right? What is the belief that drives it? Like, just feel it. Like, what do I really make this mean about me? What story do I tell in relation to this? You don't have to fix it immediately. Just be aware of it. Ask, what is it protecting me from? What is the payoff that I get from this? Now, how do I make a new choice? How do I choose from truth, from who I am, not performance, not who I think I need to be? Like, not that version of me. So you get to dissolve it by getting closer to it, not further away from it. Like, don't think you're going to outrun this. Don't think you're going to outrun your thoughts and the heaviness and the cycles and the patterns. It's just not simply how it worked. And if I had a different way to teach it to you, I would, but this is what I know, and this is what works. This is what works over and over and over and over again. So next time you want to say I'm over it, you have to pause. And you have to ask yourself, do I actually believe that? Or am I trying to be a healed version of myself? Am I trying to show up as somebody who is healed? Or am I actually over it? You don't owe anyone peace. You don't owe anyone anything, but you do owe yourself truth. So stop performing your way through this. And if you need more support on this, I'm going to refer you to my pattern breaker, like my GPT that will walk you through in my voice. It will tell you exactly how I would tell you what you need to do, what pattern you're overlooking, what is disrupting, and it will walk you through how to move through it. What do you need to do? How can you do it differently? Right, it's a really powerful way to pair that with your own self-trust and really pair it with your not this time moment. Like, what is that for you? All right. So I invite you to share, like, what is What's the thing that you need to let go of? What is your new not this time moment? And what can you do to not overlook it? Like, what does that look like for you? I can't wait to hear about it. Drop it in the comments, ask your questions, and I'll see you guys next week.